Hi there, Terry Hashimoto with the BodiTrak Golf System. We're at St. FX University in Antigonish, Nova Scotia with Dr. Sashel McKenzie and John McIsaac from Energy Sports. Today we're going to show you how to use the BodiTrak Golf System. You've downloaded the Shift EXE file. Everything's on your computer. We're going to hit the live button to be able to start to capture data. Okay, and as you can see on the screen, we're now on the live mode. With the BodiTrak Golf System, we measure weight moving in two directions, from front to back and side to side. I'm going to get Dr. Sashel to explain that to us here right now.
Okay, so we're in live mode. So if you can see the center pressure trace on the bottom left of the screen. Okay, and right now that white dot that Terry's going to point at is evenly distributed between my 2 feet. And if I now shift my weight, so I'm applying more force with my left foot, you'll see that dot move over towards my left foot. In fact, I've just picked my right foot up off the ground. And now I can go back to center for a second, and then I'm going to go all the way over on my right foot, and that's showing the average. That white dot is the average spot I'm applying vertical force to the ground. And not only can I go left and right, if I get back centered here, I can go towards my heels and towards my toes. And those colors, those contoured colors, show the actual pressure that's under that part of my foot, or that part being applied to the mat. So red is a lot of pressure, and as we go all the way down to white's less pressure, and you don't see anything, then there's no pressure.
In addition to the COP graph, we also have the velocity chart. When Dr. Sashel moves all his weight to the right side, you'll see it as a white line below the baseline. When he moves it all to the left, you'll see it as a white line above the baseline. Now when he moves all of his weight to his toes, his front toes, you'll see it as a yellow line above the baseline. If he moves his weight to the heels, you'll see it as a yellow line below the baseline. So we have two charts. We've got the COP trace chart, and we've got the velocity chart that measures weight moving in two directions, side to side, the lateral motion, and front to back, heel to toe motion. Now, Dr. Sashel, I'm going to get you to hit the live button again. One of the ways that we like to use the mat is for static positions. So let's say, for example, that we wanted to get Sashel into a correct position. In this case, we're just going to look for 50-50 right to left. So Sashel, go ahead and try to find 50-50 for a setup and address with your iron, just using the monitor as your guide here. Tell me when you found 50-50.
All right, I think I'm there.
All right. So obviously we're not quite there. Now we're going to get you to find it by moving into that correct using the monitor. Go ahead. Perfect. Very good. Okay, now I'm going to ask you to try to remember how that feels. Get off the mat, for example, for now. Good. Come back. Try to find that position again. Excellent. Very close. Keep on going. There you go. Now we're beginning to quantify feel. The next way that we use the BodiTrak Golf System is to actually capture swings. And to do this, I'm going to ask John McIsaac from Energy Sports to operate the device. First of all, we can now enter in the email address or the name of the student right at the very beginning. In this case, I put in my name, hashimoto@gmail.com, in case you want to email me an order. Okay, so John, what we're going to get you to do here is to just open up the microphone button to 2 green. And this microphone button controls how we capture all the data. We use sound to capture impact. Are we ready?
2 green.
Very good. Now I'm going to get Dr. Sashel to lead a shot. Good swing. Okay, that's a good one. So now what we can do, John, will hit the save button. And now, as you can see, we're beginning to save the data. And this will, if you go to your document files, it'll be saved under Shift, and we'll show you that in a moment. Now, John, I'm going to get you to hit the tab button. And you'll see that we have 2 measurements here, the peak velocity and your release factor. The peak velocity is your fastest motion in any direction. In this case, it's a lateral motion. And your release factor is the time from when the peak velocity begins to impact. John, I'll get you to hit the tab button one more time. And in the new user interface, we show it up on the velocity chart. The 313 shows up as your peak velocity. And then the time from when the peak velocity occurs is 74 milliseconds. Okay, John, what I'm going to get you to do is to back up the cursor just prior to impact. Most golfers will be very interested in understanding what the weight distribution is from side to side of the dress and what your weight distribution is from your heels to toes. So in other words, in this case, Sasho's got a fair amount of weight on his left heel and pretty equally distributed on his right side with a little bit more weight towards his right heel. John, we're just going to advance this towards the peak velocity, please. Let's get him to about perpendicular to the ground. At the top of Sasho's swing, he's got approximately 62% of his weight on his left side, 38% on his right side, and now he's moved most of his weight towards his right toe. Now we're going to move towards this velocity, this peak velocity. Go ahead, John. And note what happens to his weight distribution. We'll go back one frame. He has 67% of his weight on his right side. The next frame, go ahead. And you'll see now we've moved most of his weight to his left side. This is the beginning of his peak velocity when we feel that the energy is now being transferred into the shaft. At this point, what we're looking for is timing this to impact, and if we do that correctly, which in this case it's minus 74 milliseconds, minus because it's prior to impact, we now begin to understand the loads that a golfer is putting on their shaft. As part of the solution to helping golfers understand what the correct COP trace is, we developed what we refer to as the golf number. And the golf number is based on 4 criteria: speed, balance, smoothness, and timing. The speed is your peak velocity. It's your fastest motion in any direction. In this case, it's the lateral motion. And I've never seen it anything else but the lateral motion. And we give you a value out of 100. Your balance is the weight moving from front to back, the lack thereof, your heel-toe motion. Your smoothness is the lateral motion, again, the lack thereof. We don't want you moving too far off the ball, of course. And your timing is your peak velocity time to impact. And we're looking for a number here that'll give us the most maximum release of energy towards the target. As you can see, we're using all 4 values here to come up with a golf number. And this golf number is based on weighing all 4 values on an equal basis currently. We're looking at ways to improve this golf number, and we're here to develop a formula and the algorithm which will perfect this for self-use. Okay, as I mentioned to you earlier, when we save this document, we want to be able to refer to it and be able to do online metrics. So I've asked John to hit Windows E. As you can see now, John, if you go to Documents, and if you go to Shift, this is if you open up the Shift file right here, and up will come Hashimoto@Gmail right there. There you go. And if we go to the latest file with Dr. Sasho, double click that. Stop at the top of the guy's swing. There you go, at Dr. Sasho's swing. So now we can stop and save the data throughout all data points of a golfer's swing. We can save it in our Shift file. We can use this for online metrics. Terry Hashimoto with the BodiTrak Golf System in Antigonish, Nova Scotia.